everyone. Today I will present about my moral judgment, and mathematical number is 269421. And in my opinion, tax is super rich. It's a good way to reduce the grossing gap between the rich and the poor. Right now, a small group of the extremely wealthy people has a big impact on the societies. While millions suggested to afford the basic things like the food, medical care, and education. According to the Office of American 2023, the richest 1% own more versus that billions of other people's compacted. The massive growth not only feels unfair, but also put the society, the stability at risk. Versus taxes on the richest people have transfer the resources to fund the essential public service, creating a fairer and more inclusive societies. The idea behind the wise tax is to ensure that people who benefit the most from the society contribute their fair share by focusing on the overly concentrated wealthy. These taxes given governments these funds to the fight the poverty and inequality. And for example, Colombia has shown that those taxes can work well if the design properly clear rules, favor local health, and better the enforcement, and reduce the tax evolutions and make the systems more effectively. However, with taxes alone cannot fix everything. To achieve the real equalities, we also need a strategy like the fair wages, afford education for everyone, and better support for the vulnerable groups such as the women. For this, the public to work and again the public trust. The government must be the transparent and fair in how they implement them. This plan isn't about the population reach. It's about the building a society where everyone has fair chances to the service.
My name is Shin Yu. Number metric is 293176. In my opinion, wealth inequality is the difference in the ownership of resources and assets between people or families in a nation. It illustrates the disparity between the wealthy and poorest factors of society by reflecting the distribution of wealth among a population. I personally support implementing a wealth tax to address wealth inequality, particularly in Malaysia. Wealth inequality affects social relationships and economic mobility, leaving the lower income population hindered in cycle of poverty, while the wealthy accumulate disproportionate power and resources. Therefore, best practices for implementing wealth taxes include setting a high exemption threshold to ensure the tax targets only the ultra-wealthy, minimizing its impact on middle-class and upper-middle-class households. A carefully designed wealth tax can be an ethical and effective tool to redistribute resources and create a fairer society. Besides that, I oppose inheritance tax because it can pose challenges for heirs inheriting family-owned businesses, where the value of the asset may be high but liquidity is limited. Hayes might be forced to sell this asset to pay the debts, leading to economic destruction. Inheritance tax closing loopholes and international coordination to reduce avoidance. In conclusion, the principle of justice and fairness strongly support the implementation of wealth and inheritance taxes. Reducing wealth inequality through this tax can improve society well-being by funding public good, reducing poverty, and promoting economic mobility. A fair distribution of resources fosters social harmony and allows all citizens to thrive, aligning with the principle of a virtuous community. Addressing wealth inequality is not just an economic need but also a moral one, as it ensures equal opportunity and enhances society well-being. Thank you.
Hi doctor, my name is Chang Kae Wen, matrix number 293928, and I will going to present about my moral judgment on both issues. First, I personally support the first issue that a wealth tax is the best way to solve the problem of wealth inequality we are experiencing. Wealth inequality is a pressing issue, with the top 10% of US households controlling nearly 70% of the nation's wealth, while the bottom 50% holds only 2%. This vast disparity limits access to education, healthcare, and economic mobility for marginalized groups, threatening social cohesion and democracy. Current taxes on income alone are insufficient to address this issue. Wealth inequality far exceeds income inequality, requiring a complementary approach. A wealth tax on the richest individuals and corporations. Evidence shows that countries like Norway and Switzerland, which implement progressive wealth taxes, maintain economic innovation while reducing inequality. Wealth inequality also undermines economic growth through reduced investment, political instability, and credit constraints. By redistributing wealth, a wealth tax promotes distributive justice, ensuring equal opportunities for all. This approach fosters a fairer, more cohesive society where well-being is shared more equitably. In summary, a wealth tax is not just an economic necessity but a moral imperative to address the growing wealth divide and build a more just society. The second issue, I personally support that an inheritance tax can help bridge the gap between the rich and poor in Malaysia. Wealth inequality is a significant issue in Malaysia, where the richest 10% of households control most of the nation's wealth, while low-income families struggle under financial constraints. This disparity is perpetrated when wealth is passed down through generations without intervention, preventing social mobility and deepening inequality. Unlike many developed countries, Malaysia abolished its inheritance tax in 1991 due to low tax collection. However, countries like South Korea and France have successfully used inheritance taxes to promote wealth redistribution and fund essential public services. Evidence suggests that well-designed inheritance taxes do not harm economic competitiveness but instead support social mobility and reduce intergenerational wealth gaps. Reintroducing an inheritance tax in Malaysia would be a morally just policy. It aligns with the principle of distributive justice, which aims to ensure fair access to resources for all citizens. Revenue from this tax could be reinvested in education, healthcare, and social welfare, delivering maximum benefit to society as guided by utilitarian principles. In summary, an inheritance tax in Malaysia would address wealth inequality, promote equal opportunities, and support essential public services, fostering a fairer and more inclusive society.
My name is Teh Jia Ying and my matching number is 294094. In my opinion, I personally support the idea of wealth tax because it may help in addressing the increasing inequality of wealth. While the majority of people struggle to meet their basic requirements, wealth is increasingly concentrated in the hands of a small percentage of the population in many countries. In order to support social services like infrastructure, healthcare, and education, a wealth tax would compel individuals with greater money to pay a large portion, which would benefit society as a whole. It also encourages equal rights because it challenges inequalities. Since the rich frequently have greater possibilities to increase their money, it stands to reason that they would make greater contributions to the welfare of society. The wealth tax makes sure that people help those who are less fortunate while preventing their opportunity to gain rich. In doing so, it develops a more fair and balanced society in which all people have equal access to opportunity. However, I am against the inheritance tax. Although addressing income inequalities is important, I think the inheritance tax unfair separates out families who have put in a lot of effort to accumulate wealth and transfer it to their offerings. Families that inherit property or business should able to keep them without having to pay higher tax. Since inheritance tax is a private relationship, people need to be allowed to give their loved ones access to the assets they gain through the years of their life. For those who inherit no liquid assets, such as property or a family business, the inheritance tax can be particularly difficult. In order to pay the tax, this family may need to transfer assets, which could upset their financial stability. I think society should prioritize giving everyone beneficial possibilities to accumulate money in the first place, such as improved employment and educational prospects, rather than taxing inheritance. In conclusion, depending on one's viewpoint, there are good reasons for both inheritance and wealth tax. Proponents contest that by charging wealth from the renters to enhance public service for everyone. This tax can aid in lowering economic inequality and advancing social justice. Opponents contest that this tax compromises economic freedom and private property rights, which may deter investments and entrepreneurship. At the end, deciding whether to impose this tax necessary, striking a delicate balance between uprooting individual rights, forecasting economic growth, and advancing fairness.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurul Izzaty Natasha Binti Mohamad Sazali and my matrix number is 294446. Personally, I think a wealth tax is an important step towards addressing the problem of increasing wealth disparity in our country. The gap between the T20 and B40 right now is becoming a lot more obvious, and apparently that is something that needs to be done to balance out how resources need to be distributed evenly. A wealth tax could actually help by redirecting some of the wealth from the richest individuals to improve essential services like education and healthcare, which actually will benefit everyone, especially those struggling the most. Places like Norway have shown that these taxes can actually work without damaging their economy as long as they are implemented thoughtfully. However, I acknowledge that this challenges possible tax evasion or very high administrative costs can really risky to the country. So the country need to carefully manage it to make the policy effective. And in conclusion, I actually do believe that these taxes need to be a part of the bigger plan to tackle inequality. Things like a better access to education, healthcare, and jobs are just as important to us. So for these taxes to work, the public needs to actually understand the purpose and see them as a fair thing for all the people in our country. With the right approach toward these taxes, Malaysia could actually take significant steps towards becoming a more reliable and inclusive country. Thank you very much.
In my opinion, I do not agree with the idea that a wealth tax is the best way to solve wealth inequality. There is a growing conversation about implementing a wealth tax to address the rising wealth gap by redistributing wealth and funding crucial services. Different types of taxes, like a net worth tax based on individuals' assets minus liabilities, or specific taxes on billionaires, such as a suggested 2% global minimum tax, can be implemented. Advocates claim that wealth taxes encourage fairness and societal equity, while opponents raise issues about hindering innovation, asset flight, and administrative complexity. Different countries have varying outcomes with wealth taxes. For example, Norway's imposition of a wealth tax led to a 10% decrease in the top 1% wealth share and a 5% increase in the bottom 50% share, showcasing significant achievement. Factors such as exemption, low rates, and administrative challenges resulted in Spain's reintroduced tax and Switzerland's cantonal taxes having more restricted or diverse impacts. Key challenges include avoidance, the intricacy of assessing assets, and the fluidity of capital movement. Creating a successful wealth tax involves having a wide foundation, minimal rates, and gradual frameworks, along with adjustment in inheritance and property taxes. While wealth taxes offer potential benefits, the effectiveness relies on careful execution and integration with larger plans to tackle inequality, highlighting the importance of strong political determination and backing from public. A wealth tax may not be the most effective solution for reducing wealth inequality. The research states that although a wealth tax is often used to address the wealth and negatively impact the economy, particularly on worker wages, as it is considered a crude tool. As for inheritance tax, I agree that it can help bridge the gap between the rich and the poor in Malaysia. Considering the reintroduction of an inheritance tax in Malaysia as a way to tackle the increasing wealth inequality and encourage economic fairness. At present, the top 40 richest Malaysians possess 22% of the GDP, whereas the poorest 20% own less than 5% of the country's wealth. An estate tax imposed on large inheritance during transfer could help redistribute wealth and generate more government revenue for vital services such as healthcare and education. Until 1991, Malaysia used to have an estate tax charging 5 to 10% on estates over 2 billion ringgit, and groups such as the Consumers Association Penang have urged for its reinstatement. Supporters claim that the tax will mainly focus on the affluent while not affecting the middle class, and would promote meritocracy by decreasing dependence on inherited wealth. Nevertheless, issues arise due to the possibility of damaging family-owned businesses with financial strain, opposition from the public due to the feelings and injustice, and difficulties in assessing estate values and stopping evasion. Global instances demonstrate that even though estate taxes can aid in the redistribution of wealth, their effectiveness hinges on efficient execution and approval from the general population. Policymakers need to create a well-thought-out strategy that considers both possible downsides and encourages